And hopefully TikTok is bringing up, bringing them people in, bringing them, bringing them, bringing them people in. Because why would you not? Why would you not be bringing people in to the live? You know what I'm saying? Bring them in, bring them out, bring them out. So again, this is the set of Mother's Day nails that I made on our live on TikTok. These are the Mother's Day bouquet nails, as you can see. I'm just get up in there. Yeah, yeah. Yes, these are very gorgeous, as you can see. I do apologize for leaving you off of Bad and Bougie, but we didn't have time. But TikTok, you were there the whole way. And what I'm going to do right now, before we get into our live about acrylics, I have these sets. For some reason, they are not available, even though I bought them from the TikTok shop. Every time, hold on, did they let me add them in? Because before it was not letting me add them in. I think tonight it did. Hold on, let me see. They're the nail display cases. I don't know. Why did it get so hot over here? Let's see. I think are these okay? These are right. Oh, they're for some reason they're unavailable, so I can't add them in. But I do want to go ahead. Welcome in. Hey, that bitch boom. Hey, Rashonda Billing. Hey, Comedy Central. I'm going to go in. Child, what is my fan right here? Whew. It's hot over here. Now, y'all might be saying, girl, why you not at your nail station? Well, yesterday when I'm at the nail station, it sits up higher and I'm sitting in this high bar stool, and my legs are dangling and I'm short. And when I'm telling y'all, by the time I got down from that live last night, my legs and my feet was on fire. They was on fire. And when I say fire, I do mean fire. But I was so happy that I had my BioFreeze, which I have it right here. I had my BioFreeze that actually gives you really good pain relief. Yeah, baby, and it's a roll-on. So I was rolling this on my legs and on my feet. As soon as I finished that live, I went and took a shower. And whoo, baby, one thing you can always believe BioFreeze is going to do within 30 minutes for me. Now, I can't say for you. Within 30 minutes, my pain is like eased so much. Sometimes it's gone. But that's why I'm over here at my desk today instead of being at my nail station, because just last night's live, it was too much. It was too much. So that's why I'm sitting over here. That's why the scenery looks a lot different. It's a little bit darker behind me instead of you guys seeing the projector behind me as you usually do. So I do apologize for that, but that's why. And I didn't want to keep delaying the live. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to create our display case for our Mother's Day bouquet nails that we created. So when I do this, I just kind of measure out my tape. Hey, Jamie. I go in and measure out my tape and cut it. This is the two-sided tape that comes with the Make Art nail display case, which is available in the showcase. Today, if you look at our live setup, it's mostly going to be about acrylic because that's what we're going to be focusing on. Hey, everyone, we're going to be focusing on acrylic nails. Or I don't want to say acrylic nails, using acrylic, working with acrylic, making acrylic flowers, learning how to extend out your nails to make them longer with acrylic, creating the perfect shape for your nails with acrylic. Now, when I do these, I always know which hand is which because my left hand, I always do the thumb on the end, so that makes it easier. And when I'm doing my right hand, I put the thumb first. So that's how I know left from right. So now all I have to do is peel this tape off of here and pull the protection off of the back side of the tape. And TikTok, I have you guys on my phone down here. So you're going to see me looking at two different areas because we have two different cameras going right now. And I have an audience over here that sees me this way, but you guys are over here to see me that way. So welcome in every live. If we can get 1,000 taps on the live, is greatly appreciated. That helps push me out to the FYP to bring the people in that need to get the information that we are sharing. If you do not know, I am Top Styles. I am a dual state licensed cosmetologist. I'm in my 7th year of retirement, and I decided to take my skill set of doing nails instead of just letting it lay dormant. I now come on TikTok every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to teach you all nail art tutorials. So you can use acrylic to do nail art, but you first need to know how to use acrylic. So in the month of May, what we're doing is we're focusing on acrylic nails. Our goal every live is to have a minimum of 10,000 likes, but we're happy with 10% of that, which would be 1,000. We like to have at least 50 shares, but we're happy with 5. And we like engagement and interaction in the comments. And that's liking the live, sharing the live, talking to me because I talk back. I talk back and I block too. Don't be saying nothing stupid because I'm going to block that ass really quick, okay? I don't know what people be thinking over here on TikTok, but this is my page, my world. And if you say anything I do not like, I block you expeditiously. If you come on here saying something that just don't make no sense, guess what? I'm going to sensibly block that ass. Okay, so these are our, I don't like the way these sitting, but they'll do for now. I feel like this is too close. Hold on. Over on our other platform, you all can catch the replay on TikTok. If you're here, you're here. And if you're not, you miss it. Okay. So again, these are our Mother's Day bouquet nails that we created over on TikTok through the month of April. We worked on making flowers, whether we did 3D flowers, hand-drawn flowers, acrylic flowers, rhinestone flowers. And then at the end of the month, we made a set of Mother's Bouquet nails. Every month we focus on an item, but I'm giving you guys a true lesson plan. We focus on an item, but then we work practicing that item, perfecting that item. And by the end of the month, we will have a total of at least one full set of nails. So last month we practiced, and we did one set. This month, because we are working on acrylic, by the end of the month, you should have a total of 3 sets of nails if you are following me. Now, I do wear Invisalign, and sometimes with Invisalign, my mouth sometimes gets a little dry, okay? So to take you guys, let me move this down because we're gonna walk through and talk through these products that I have on here. Another product I wanted to tell you all about is Dry Mouth. So it comes in different ones, but this one right here, I was shocked because my son, he said, "Ma, we out of this, we need some more." So when I got another one, I actually did the instant relief, immediate relief, because it moisturizes and smooths. Because sometimes with the Invisalign, it tends to dry my mouth out, especially around the gum area, and that's a little annoying to me. Plus, it helps with dry mouth. It's scientifically proven smart zinc and bad breath prevention. Because I don't want to be talking to nobody with a funky breath. So I have this right here, but I was going to switch my mouth, but I'm not going to do all that. So I have this over here, and I told you guys about the BioFreeze, which is why we're over here, because my legs was on fire last night. And I said, I'm not finna sit over there today, because what I'm going to be teaching you guys today is mostly going to be theory and things that you need to know if you plan on working with acrylic. Also, I'm trying to move this down and it's giving me a hard time, and I don't know why. Like, why is it just moving down? The last product. Okay, so to let you guys know, hey Carrie, hey Marcel, hey Monique, hey Passion Flower, hey Irish. To let you guys know, I am a dual state licensed cosmetologist. So I'm not on here just telling y'all something that I have pulled out the back of my ass. Something that I done sat around and figured out. And I said, oh, I'm going to just go up and tell them I am a dual state licensed cosmetologist. Before I retired, I was a platform artist traveling throughout the United States of America, teaching licensed cosmetologists and cosmetology students, as well as salon owners and school owners, the art of cosmetology, which is hair, skin, and nails. I first started the nail program in high school. I am now 52 years old. So I was straight out of high school with a cosmetology license, and that's what I ended up doing because Uncle Sam like pulled a fast one on me, and I couldn't go in the military to be a pharmacist because that's what I was supposed to be. Okay. So I first started out doing nails in school. When I graduated high school, I only needed 20 more hours to get my nail license. I went and talked to my instructor to say, hey, I know I'm graduating, but how can I go ahead and finish these 20 hours so I can get my license? She said, I want you to just do the whole program. You can do everything. You can do whatever you want to do. And I said, huh? She said, yeah, you can be an esthetician. You can do hair, you can do nails, you can do whatever you want to do with a cosmetology license. With the nail license, you're limited to nails. And I said, okay, cool. So I did the whole program. Then I got my cosmetology license, passed state board on the first try. Booyah! I still know people that don't went to cosmetology school and cannot pass a state board, and I'm still trying to figure that out. But anyway, this is not what we're going to talk about. We ain't trying to shade nobody. But I started out doing hair and nails. So there were certain days of the week that I only did nails. Certain days of the week I only did hair. Then it was days of the week that I did both of them. And then I finally said, girl, pick a lane. Pick a lane. Because it was insane that I was jumping back and forth. And sometimes I would end up being late with a client because either the hair client or the nail client would change their mind on what they need. So after 2 years, I decided to just pursue hair. Now that I am in my 7th year of retirement, and mind you, by the time I retired, I only worked 3 days out the week. I worked by appointment only, and you had to be referred by a VIP client. So I didn't retire because I didn't know what I was doing. And I did not retire because I was not making money. I retired because, child, my knees, my back, everything was hurting like that. And I said, you know what? This ain't for me. I'm not about to be doing hair until I'm about to die. So I'm in a whole nother thing. But long story short, I was bored and I was like, I need something to do. And I said, you know what? All these people doing nails, and I never could figure out how is there so many people doing nails and they ain't got no license. And I realized now they actually give you the tip and you can do the nail art and the gel polish. And I said, oh, I can do that. So this is how we started a couple months back, and this is where we're at in May. And when I say a couple months back, I'm meaning March is when we started. And I actually brought this over here to show you guys the first day. And I said, well, let me see if I remember anything from nail art, because it had been over 20 years since I had even touched a pair of nails. So this was the very first set that I sat down and I said, well, let me just see if I can do a little something on these little Tipp-Ex light nails. So this was the very first set that I sat down and did, and I did these on live. And I said, okay, I might be on to something. I might be on a little something. And I said, well, let me try a little something else. So then this was the second set that we made. And on this set, all of these trees that you see, those trees are hand drawn. The water is hand drawn. The clouds are hand drawn. The birds are hand drawn. I also added some rhinestones on here to act as the coconuts. And I also added a couple decals. So this was my second set that I came on here and made. And I made these on live too. And every time I'm on live, I'm walking you guys through what I'm doing, because if you're trying to learn this as a skill set to do your own nails, or if you're a nail student, you might be a licensed cosmetologist or a nail technician and you want to learn nail or hone your skills. So this was the second set that I did. Then I said, oh, you know what? Let me make some money nails. You know, back in the day, we used to do the money nails. So I decided to go ahead and make some money nails. So this was the third set of nails I made, where I actually encapsulated some money into the set of nails. I did this on live with you guys as well and showed you all how to do this. Hey, Jackie, welcome in, welcome in. Thank you, Marcel. I appreciate it. Then I said, you know what? I felt inspired by Christian Louboutin. I have a pair of Evil Eye Christian Louboutin tennis shoes. And I said, you know what? Let me see if I can do a little something with the Evil Eye. So I ended up making these Evil Eye nails. And now these nails that I'm showing you guys right now, with the exception of the money nails, I have worn these nails at least once. And these these evil eye nails are not in order because I cleaned them and just stuck them back in here. So I need to go and put these in the right order for the right hand, because right now they are not. But these are the evil eye nails that I made, and we did these on live as well. And we did these in the month of March. So everything I'm showing you right now, these are nail sets that we did in the month of March. So these are the evil eye nails that we did. And the reason I call them Louboutin nails is if you flip them over, when I'm wearing them, the only thing you talking, when you got your nails on, you be talking with your hand, right? So when I'm talking to people, the only thing they see is the red bottoms. So this is why I called these Louboutin nails. And then on one, I decided to do a little razzle dazzle and do some rhinestones on it. Then I said, this was another set that I did. This was mostly decals. This is just decals and flowers and rhinestones on this set that I did right here. And this was probably like the second or third set. I did this set before I did the money set. Then the last set that I did in the month, and this was toward the beginning of April, I had some peridot crystals. And I said, I wonder if I can infuse these crystals into my nails. So I went in. I got one of these backwards. I went in and made a pair of what I call cosmic nails. And again, we do all of this on live. I walk you guys through everything I'm doing. I don't hide anything. I don't gatekeep. And again, when I started doing this, I had not touched nails in over 20 years. Okay. Hey, Iris Figgy, welcome in. So these are the cosmic nails, and these nails actually have peridot crystals infused into the nails. And then last month we practiced flowers all month because I wanted to learn how to do these 3D flowers. I didn't know how to do it. I said, y'all know what, we're gonna learn it together. And if I can't figure it out, I'm going to go and pay for a class and come back and show everybody. So we ended up creating this set of nails right here, which is the Mother's Day bouquet nails. I will be wearing these Sunday when I go to the Polo Club, because I'm going to an event that is hosted by Don Julio. So these are our Mother's Day bouquet nails right here. So these are those. And this is my empty box for the set that we are going to make in the month of May, which the goal is by the end of the month of May, you understand acrylics, you know how to work with acrylics. And what we end up making is going to be a total of 3 sets. But the main project that we're going to be working toward, I'm calling a Ballerina French. Now, you might be wondering, well, what do you mean Ballerina French? It's actually going to be a mahogany Ballerina French. And we'll get more into that because I don't want to go all into the weeds with you all. So as I said, we're going to talk about acrylics, but I also told you guys, I am a dual state licensed cosmetologist. I'm not just throwing stuff from out of nowhere. I own 2 hair salons before I retired. And I actually had to move from the city I lived in to successfully retire. So I originally moved from Central Florida to South Florida. But I would drive up every weekend to do my clients' hair while they found someone else to service them. And then I started going from every week to every 2 weeks to once a month because I had to kind of space it out. Because, clients, when they love you, they ain't never going to go nowhere. And they will call and say, oh, she messed my hair. Blah, 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 blah. But this next product that I wanted to tell you all about, when I seen it, I said, this would have been perfect. I used to manage a salon in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, actually in Duluth, Georgia, which is like where all the housewives stay at. Alta Salon Cosmetic and Fragrances. I actually managed their salon in Duluth, Georgia. And I had a client that when she came, she had very oily hair. Now, this was a Black lady. She was not Caucasian. Most people that have issues with oily hair, they're Caucasian. So she was really the first Black person or African American that I had met that had an issue with oily hair. And she was like, yes, my hair is so oily and I have to actually shampoo it every day. And I just can't find anything that's going to work. So this product right here has 1% zinc pythanol in it, in the shampoo, in the conditioner. It has biopeptides, oat extract, and vitamin E. Now, all of these products are sulfate free and color free. And then this restoring serum has 0.125% of the zinc pythanol in it. And this helps not only with dandruff, but also oil control. And I was like, oh, if she would have had this, she would have been so excited because she had to shampoo her hair every day. And this lady came to me every 3 to 4 days to get her hair done. Okay, so she had some money because I was like the top tier, because I'm the manager. I was the top tier stylist and she didn't want nobody else to do her hair. But if she would have had this product right here, which is an advanced oil control trio, she would have been pleased. So if you have an issue with oily hair, no matter of your what's the word? I always get confused with these words because it's not your socioeconomic status, your race. No matter your race, whether you're black, white, is it anything outside of black or white when it comes, you know what I'm saying? Because even if you are in Spain or China or Africa, it's always, are you black or are you white? And then you have different skin tones. But long short, this product is the product that you want to go ahead and give a try. This is advanced oil control, and it's available on the TikTok shop, and it is available in my showcase currently. So I wanted to show you guys that product as well. And now we can get into what we're all here for, acrylics. Okay, now the Melody Susie, if you don't have this drill, you want to be sure that you get you a really, really, really good drill. Oh. Did it go? Hold on. Oh, this is the drill kit. Okay, so this one is the drill kit where it comes with almost everything. Hold on, because there's another one that's a little more cost efficient. But at any rate, all of these drills, Melody Susie is a professional grade drill. When I was doing nails, my nail drill was almost $300. Okay, if you wanted a nail drill on the cheaper end, you was gonna spend maybe 150. So we didn't have like cost efficient drills back when I was a hairstylist, nail technician. Like it didn't happen. So with this one, and I actually have mine over here. I don't know, you guys can see it a little bit, but we're not going to be using the drill at all tonight. But if you're looking for one that's cost efficient, this is a nail drill kit for acrylic and gel nails. Okay, so I have that available in the showcase. So let me just move all of this stuff down, and then we're going to get into what we're going to get into. For your practice, if you guys are going to follow along with me, hey, Chris, welcome in. If you're going to follow along with me as we go through these modules, I actually sit down and make lesson plans for you all. Believe it or not, I have a whole lesson plan. I have my little book, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to learn today. This is what we're going to learn tomorrow. And I'm mad that my projector is not working because I have an entire slideshow to help you guys understand acrylic, understand the nail bed. Thank you guys for getting me to 1,000 likes. I appreciate y'all, because it's very important before you start working with acrylics that you understand this, because a lot of times people are working with acrylic and they don't understand, why is the nail always lifting up? Why don't the nails stay? And that's because if you're not doing certain things that you need to do to the nail itself, that's going to cause it to lift. But if you don't understand the parts of the nail, if I say, hey, you got to be sure you clean the cuticle area before you apply the acrylic, if you don't know what the cuticle is, you don't know what I'm talking about. If I say, hey, you have to be sure that you properly prep the nail bed, you have to be sure that the free edge is nice and clean. Like all of these terms, if you don't understand that when I'm talking, then you're just not going to get it. Welcome in, Kim. So what I'm going to pin for you right now, this is actually the kit that we're going to be using. It's a very cheap kit. Right now it's saying it's $7.15. Again, this is a kit that you're going to practice with. This is not the kit that you would use when you're ready. I think for some reason you guys are showing black over here on TikTok when I'm looking at my thing. But this is not the nail kit that you would use when you're doing a set of nails. Hold on, guys. Let me dim this light just a little. Okay. I don't know what happened. Can you guys in the Tori Harris, can you guys still see? Because I'm trying to monitor YouTube to be, not YouTube, I'm sorry, TikTok to be sure you guys can see. But on my monitor, it's showing the screen black. And I'm hoping you guys can see. But this is the product. So what comes in here, and this is what we're going to be using for practice. You actually get you're going to get the nail brushes that you need. And I don't have my other phone over here. You actually get nail forms. You're going to get the nail forms. You are going to get your monomer. You are also going to get acrylic powder. And you're getting 3 of these acrylic powders. So this one is 03. This one is 01. I was trying to see if it told me the color. I don't know what's going on. And you know what, TikTok, I'm usually on my iPad, and I actually have you guys live on I done broke all my phones, so it's the iPhone 7, and that's probably why it's acting this way, so I apologize. You also get a dapping dish. So a dapping dish is what you actually put your monomer in, which is your liquid. And you also get a nail file because you need your nail file to actually shape. So notice in here, you don't get any nails. There's no nails in here at all. So, but they do give you the forms, the nail forms to actually build the nail file. To build the nail. So I'm going to put that in there because we are going to play around with this today. But first, I wanted to be sure to go through some technical terms with you all. And this is the nail form that I'm used to using right here, which is a really sturdy nail form. These are the nail forms that I actually used during my nail career when we did nails. Now, you had the option to do a tip and do your acrylic on the tip, or you actually use the nail form. Now, when you did the nail form, you were building the nail completely, which means you had to create the free edge, you had to create the apex. When you had the tip put on, we only had half tips back then. How you guys have the full Tipex and all of that, that's not something we had. So you would get a half tip and you would file the half tip down a little bit to match the nail so it was nice and flat. Be sure that you prep the nail. Then you will go in and apply your acrylic. Get your acrylic as flat as possible during the application. That means you have less drilling to do and less smoothing to do. And you also had to create the apex. So you guys might be saying, girl, you're using all this terminology and I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And that's exactly why we're here. So you guys want to grab a drink, because I got my water right here. I be talking a lot. That's probably what my mouth is right. Between that and it's Invisalign. Again, TikTok, I apologize. You guys do not have, I usually have my projector. You guys know I'm usually over there and the projector's behind me. But today, we don't have a projector, darling, because I'm sitting here at my desk. I got my legs propped up so they're not dangling, because they really don't hurt as much. But I'd rather be safe than sorry, because when you're 52, you won't never know what's gonna go. Okay. Now, another thing I want to show you all before we go in, this is a set that we will be working with which is the perfect beginner set. This is when we start to make those actual nail sets. This is what you want to have. And I showed you guys the nail file. I mean, not nail file, the drill. And then this acrylic powder set is on the way. What you notice, it has the nice browns in it. We're going to use this to make our mahogany set, which is the last set. This was supposed to get delivered to me today, and it's still delayed. Okay, so we're not using it today. But again, if you guys are going to follow along, I want to be sure that you go ahead and get your items. And that way, when you're following along with me on the live, you can ask questions in the live. If you want me to bring you up so I can actually see what you're doing and help course correct you during the live, we can do that as well. Because again, I'm here because I'm bored. Okay, I'm here because I'm bored, and this is what I love to do. It brings me joy. It brings me fulfillment. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start talking through acrylic foundation, because before we start working with acrylic, you guys really have to understand the foundation, because if you don't understand the foundation, then none of it's going to make sense. Why is this right here? Give them over here. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so over here I need to change let's change this to this. And I just need to be able to see. Hold on for a minute. I need to be able to see what they're seeing over here. Oh, wait a minute. What is it doing over here? It's doing everything but I want it to do. Okay, I'm like, what's going on? I was doing something wrong, honey. That's what it was. You're messing up, hon. Nope, that's not what I'm trying to share. So let's remove that. Stop screen share. Share screen. Okay, here it is. Finally. I'm like, what is going on here? Okay, so now that we can see over here, we want to talk about acrylic foundations, and this is a real pretty PowerPoint TikTok. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let me see if I can do a dual camera so you guys can see this PowerPoint with me, because I think I got a dual camera on here. Oh, did it? It didn't flip. Y'all see it? Oh yes, honey. I put my skills together, and I did a PowerPoint. So hold on, let me go and see if I can get. Oh, see if I can go over here and get my oh Lord, get my iPad, because I feel like it's because I have you guys on this old iPhone, because I thought my iPad was charging, but it actually wasn't. Okay, see ya. Let's take this. And I think it will push the live over to the iPad, and I think that's going to actually help you guys be able to see a lot of what we're talking about as we continue So just give me 2 shakes of a feather to get it all together. So, sorry about that. Didn't mean to drop you there, darling. So we're going to talk about acrylic foundations, nail prep, and base application. And today's focus is going to be on nail prep and acrylic base. We're actually going to practice with the acrylic. And the outcome should be properly prepped nails ready for acrylic. Because even if you're using your tips, there are steps you have to do on the nail tips before you apply the acrylic. Because if you don't do those steps, then guess what? The acrylic is not going to stay. It's not going to do what you need it to do. And it's going to be a waste of your time and a waste of your nail tip. And that's not what I want to happen. So I'm trying to switch you guys over. Hold on. Trying to switch you guys over to the iPad, and then because I think on my iPad I have a dual screen. I don't have a dual screen on this iPhone 7, but on this iPad, I sure do. Okay. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Miko, welcome in. Okay, and let me go here because it should show me here. Nope, it's not showing right. Hold on. I don't know why I keep doing this. You know what? It's 2 ways to skin a cat, darling. And I know how to skin them all. Skin them all. Skin them all. Hold on now. I gotta figure out which one it's on. It's on this one. Acrylic foundations. Oh. Let me close out of it. Close out of that. Close out of that. Let's open that. And I don't know why. You know what? Is that why? You know what? It closed. Y'all, my streamer desktop closed again. That's why I can't see what's going on. Okay. All right. So now I have that all set over there. Let me switch my live over here because I think I have a dual camera because it's not showing up on there. Let's see, live. Okay, and this should move me over here. Oh, let me flip this. Okay. All right, guys. Now let me see if I can get this dual camera up. There's supposed to be a dual camera on here. I don't see it on here either. This kind of sucks. If I click that. Okay, it's not. So, guys, you know what I'm going to do? Well, that's probably not going to help either. Okay, well, you know what? Y'all can just listen to me. How about that? On TikTok, I'm just gonna have to have you guys listening to me because for whatever reason, it is not um it's not allowing me to do the dual camera so you guys can see the PowerPoint. So acrylic foundations, nail prep, and base application. So what is nail prep? So this is your nail. Okay, this right here is, if I had a nail, that would be my free edge. This is my sidewall. This right here is my cuticle area, and this is my nail plate. So the essential foundation before any acrylic application, nail prep creates the ideal surface for product adhesion. If you don't prep the nail properly, then your nail tip is not going to stay. So whether you are doing a half tip or a full tip, which would be like the Tip X Lite, like the nails that I showed you, something like this. If you don't do the proper application, it's not going to stay. Dealing with acrylic, if I was to just take these like this and lay acrylic on it, it's not going to work. You have to get rid of all of that shine that's on here before you even lay acrylic on it. So I want to be sure that you guys are familiar with nail preparation with acrylic. Welcome in, Heidi Hawkins. Hey, Paris 62. So the purpose of that is to remove removing oils, debris, and dead cuticle and creating a clean surface for adhesion. So this is your cuticle area down here. And if you have cuticle overlay or the cuticle is not clean and you lay acrylic down here, that nail is going to lift. So it's not going to give you what you need. So you want to be sure that it's clean. So again, the prep matters because it's the proper prep removes contaminants that cause the product to separate from the nail plate, but it also removes anything that might create a fungus. Like if you put acrylic on top of a dirty nail, what grows up under there creates the fungus on the nail. And once you have a fungus on the nail, it's hard. And you never want to put acrylic on top of a nail that's already damaged or already has acrylic on it. I see so many times now that, a lot of my content on TikTok is nails, and I'll see certain nail techs putting a full set on somebody. You can look and tell that their nails are damaged. And instead of telling them your nails are damaged, so how about we just do some treatment right now and do something different to let your nail bed breathe. A lot of people don't know every 3 months, if you wear nails on your nail bed, you're not wearing the Tip X lights, but you're wearing actually acrylic nails and stuff. Every 3 months, you should be soaking those off completely, allowing your nail bed to breathe and relax, and then put it back on. You don't soak it off and then put another set on. That was the norm when I learned how to do nails. Now it's all about the money. But if you have someone and you're putting acrylic on top of a nail that has a cut on it, that's an ultimate no. You're supposed to turn that surface away. If you put a nail on top of someone or acrylic on top of a nail that has fungus on it, that's a no. You're supposed to turn that client away. You're supposed to give them other alternatives. So a lot of this stuff makes me wonder, do y'all have a license? Y'all just look back there, y'all don't learn how to do acrylic nails or whatever. I don't know. But cleaning the nail bed actually improves retention. So what you want to do is etch the surface to create micro grooves. And we always did that with a nail file. And in a later class, we're going to talk about the different grits with the nail file because all of these grits stand for something. But we would just take and go up and down and side to side to create a groove in the nail for proper adhesion, because that allowed the acrylic to actually have something to hold on to that's not smooth. And it also protects the natural nail. The correct technique preserves nail integrity while ensuring strong product bond. So you guys notice I don't have nails on. And I'm going to tell you guys why I stopped wearing nails. I was going to the nail salon to get my nails done. And I used to pay some money to get my nails done. And then I would get annoyed when those 3 months came and I was soaking my nails off. And I would have all of these grooves in my nail because they were not using the nail drill properly. They were actually drilling down into my natural nail. And one particular time when they took my nail off, I had a cut going from nail sidewall to nail sidewall. And I was like, yeah, I can't get it. And I couldn't understand why my nail was so sore. But when we soaked them off, I seen why. And I said, I can't do this anymore. And I remember telling my dad, I'm not getting nails anymore. I'm like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of doing it. But it's just something about putting on nails and being real girly and pretty and, talking with your nails and picking up your teacup and having your pinky out. So now that we have the Tip-X Lite, I actually like to wear those. Welcome in, Latrice. So you want to be sure that you're protecting the natural nail no matter what you're doing. If you're doing your nails, if you're doing a client's nail, your number one goal is not only to make their nails pretty with the nail extensions, but to always protect the natural nail as well. Just like when you're doing hair, you don't want to keep throwing wigs on, and then you take a wig off, you look like Thriller. Your natural hair should still be nice and healthy up under that, because I don't understand for the life of me, why would you pay somebody $500 to put a wig on, but they don't want to shampoo your hair, they don't condition it, they don't analyze the scalp, they do none of that. They just give you some glue and tell you to go. They're not even braiding it down. But that's a whole nother story. So that's why prep actually matters. So there's a difference between proper prep. So right here, I'm going to turn you guys this way, TikTok, so you can see. So you notice how this nail right here, you have the shine on it. And this nail right here is nice and matte and clean. This is a prep nail. This is what the nail needs to look like before you put acrylic on it. If you put acrylic on a nail like this, that's shiny and oily, the acrylic is not going to adhere. So you want to be sure that it's nice and matte. Hey, Jet, welcome in. That's part of the preparation. So when you're going in and you're etching the nail and you're doing all of that and you're putting on your dehydrator, primer, or whatever you're using, alcohol, to clean the nail, to remove the oil from it, you want it to have a nice matte. Is it matte or matte? I don't even know. I know it's not matte, but you want it to look matte. You don't want to have any kind of shine to it. So the nail cleaning process, and let me see, you want to push the cuticle back. So for you guys that don't know, I actually have two of these. This is called a cuticle pusher. This tool right here is called a cuticle pusher. You take this and you actually push the cuticle back. That's step one. You want to push the cuticle back. If there's any dead skin in here, you want to clean that off. Generally, when you are cleaning off dead cuticle, you're using these, which are called nippers. Okay, this is what you will go in and remove any dead cuticle. You want to be sure that's removed, because again, if you have a dead cuticle on the nail, your acrylic is not going to lay, it's not going to stay. And then the other end of this, you can actually use this as well to remove any dead cuticle. Okay, this end right here. So it's two ends and they're both for cuticle care. Okay, so this is to push it back, and then this right here is to clean it, or you can go in and clean it with cuticle nippers. And then you want to lightly etch the nail plate. And again, etching the nail plate, you go up and down, side to side. You don't want to do it real hard because you still want to protect the natural nail. You're just doing it on the surface. Then you want to apply a dehydrator, and then you want to apply a primer. So common prep mistakes: overfilling, filing too aggressively thins the nail plate, which is what happened to me. Okay, it thins the nail plate and causes pain. So you want to use gentle light strokes. You don't want to cause pain to your client or yourself, and you don't want to cut the nail bed. Also, stiffen cuticle remover. Product applied over cuticle lifts within days. So always remove the dead cuticle completely, or otherwise you're wasting your time. If you're doing somebody else's, they're gonna come and say, "Oh, my nails lifting up, they ain't even stay down." And if you're doing yourself, you're gonna be in the middle of somewhere and they're gonna start popping off, and you're gonna be a little embarrassed, because it's embarrassing to have a nail. I don't care if it's a press on. To have a nail come off in the middle of somewhere, it's annoying. So I love when I can put on my Tipex lights, and whether I'm using the glue or the adhesive, and I'll go when I wash my hands and I take a shower and I do my hair and I do my facial and I've done all this stuff and all of my nails are still on. To me, that's a good adhesive product that I'm using, because I'm in the house by myself and I don't want the nail to come off. Okay, because if it's gonna come off in the house, it's gonna come off outside. And then you want to apply, you don't want to apply any oil, because that creates a, hold on. I think it says you do want to apply oil. Hold on, y'all. Because you apply the oil at the end. Yeah, okay. So you don't want to apply oil. I was saying it right. I was like, hold on, is this right? Now over here on so you guys can see TikTok over here. My face is right here, so I can't really see right there, but we're on the common mistake. So when you apply product or oil, the natural oils create a barrier. So you always want to dehydrate and prime before the application. So intro to acrylic. So here we are. Again, I want you guys to understand what we're working with, what we're using before we start using it and doing the practice, which we are going to get into practicing today. So the first thing I want you guys to understand is the liquid monomer and powder polymer. That's what acrylic is. So this is your monomer. The liquid is always a monomer. The powder, no matter what color, is your polymer. And when these two come together, it is a chemical reaction and they harden and create acrylic. So that's what acrylic is. You're taking a monomer and a polymer, applying it together, and they harden and create acrylic. Okay. So the liquid monomer is what activates the polymer powder. You do not need a UV light. You do not need a LED lamp or anything like that. It cures in the open air. So if somebody's doing your nails and they tell you you need to put it up under light, baby, run. They don't know what they're doing, because a good acrylic is going to cure itself with the air. A UV light and all of that, that's not needed. So the bead basics, these are some mistakes that people make. If your bead is too wet, that means there's too much liquid in it. And that is going to be runny, it's going to be hard to control, and it's going to flood the cuticle area. And that means your ratio is off. So tonight I'm going to actually show you how to control your bead and how to do the bead control when you're picking up your acrylic balls. And then a dry bead means it's too much powder, which means it's too lumpy, it won't spread smoothly, and it's difficult to shape and file. So if it's too runny, it's just running everywhere and it's creating a mess. And if it's too dry, it won't spread and it's just creating a mess. So neither one of those is what you want. What you want to have is the perfect bead is going to be smooth, glossy surface that holds its shape on the brush. So tonight we're going to practice mastering the liquid to powder ratio for consistent results. And again, remember on YouTube, if you purchase this, we can practice alone, because for the first 2 weeks, we're just going to be practicing. So this is our practice kit. It comes with everything that you're going to need for all the practice that we're going to be doing. Again, if you're in the live, welcome in, Amina. If you want to come up on stage and have me see what you're doing because you're trying to troubleshoot, that's what I'm here for. But this is the kit that we're actually practicing with that we're going to use tonight. Now, mind you, I've never used this kit. So I'm actually going to be testing this kit tonight. And if it fails, I'm going to say, y'all know what? Don't get that one. Don't get that one. And then when we move into making our actual sets, we're going to switch over to a different product that's a more professional line product that's also available here on the TikTok shop. And that's what we're going to be making the 3 sets. Because by the end of May, you should have a total of 3 sets that were built using acrylic. So we're going to practice extending out a nail. So we're going to take a nail like this and extend it out to make it longer. We're going to practice taking a nail and creating a whole new shape using acrylic. So whether you have a square nail and you want to make it pointy, or you want to make it stiletto, or if you have a stiletto and you want to make it a long square, we're going to do that with actual acrylic. So the base application is to apply a thin layer of acrylic. You want to pick up a small bead and apply a thin, even layer across the nail plate, starting from the cuticle area. So there's 3 methods when you're doing acrylic. Now, when I was in school, we only learned the 3-ball method. And then as nails started becoming more and more popular, the 2-ball method came around. And then as they got really, really popular, because we started having a lot of Asian nail salons opening up, they created the 1-ball method. So now there's 3 different methods. It's either the 3-ball, the 2-ball, or the 1-ball method. But each of those, you have a stress ball, which is used to create the apex. So your base application is understanding the liquids to powder ratio for the perfect bead. And then the second part is applying it smoothly and evenly across the nail. And we're going to use just a regular nail tip for that practice. Tonight, we're going to actually practice on doing an acrylic flower, because we're not going to practice with the nails yet, because tonight's practice is about controlling the liquid to powder ratio. So we're going to complete all 5 prep steps on each of the nails of one hand, and this is going to be down the road. And then we're going to apply clear acrylic base, an even coat of clear acrylic to all of the prep nails. So again, those nails will be this. It takes us, once you have the skill set, you can do your own nails. Now, I used to do my own acrylic nails. I used to put all my nails on and shape them and file them down. And then I would go in and do my left hand first, because I'm right-handed. Then I had to struggle to do the left hand, the right hand, because I had to use the left hand. It was a struggle, but as I kept doing, I was pretty good at it. And I said, I can do my own nails. But again, it's been over 20 years since I've done any of that. So, I take that back. The last time I did my own nails was during COVID. Because remember, the nail salons was closed, and I was like really still wearing nails. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do my own nails. And I remember I used to do it on my Facebook, which Facebook stole my page. So I don't have a Facebook anymore. But I remember my friends was like, girl, is there anything you don't do? Because a lot of people don't know that I was a licensed cosmetologist for all of those years, because I was in between 2 states and my clients worked around my schedule. So whether I was taking college classes or if I was working in corporate America, my clients kind of worked around my schedule. And that's why I'm able to sit where I'm sitting now, because I was able to retire. And I actually retired from cosmetology like 3 times. I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I retire. And then they would bring me back. They would bring me back. And so now I feel like I'm back in it again, but on a different level. So that completes our information of understanding acrylics. Are there any questions? Any questions from anyone, anywhere? Whether you're here or there. If you don't have any questions, we're going to go into this next slide. Let me remove that one from the studio. I want to share this. And this is going to talk about acrylic control. Welcome in, Mimi, because you have to understand acrylic control before we start working with our monomer and polymer, which combines together to create our acrylic. And what I did, I'm actually going to be practicing. I took small pieces of foil right here. And then I actually have, this is just the top. This is a different top. This is not the one I was using my gel polish on. So I take the tops for my candles because I burn a lot of candles. Like I'm always burning a candle. And I actually line the top of it with saran wrap. So when I start practicing, I'm actually just going to be like this here. And I'm going to have to make it where you guys on TikTok can see me as well as on YouTube, because we're live on YouTube as well. Okay, so we're going to start talking about acrylic control. Okay, this is what we're about to go into now. So let me open this one up over here. I don't know what happened to the dual camera on TikTok, because TikTok is real funny. Like if I'm showing something on live and my face isn't there, then they'll say, "Oh, it's a it'll say it's like a still image or something," and then they'll give me a community violation. They're always on community violations, okay? So we're not gonna have those problems today, okay? So acrylic control, this is about bead formation and product chemistry. So I want you guys again to understand the monomer and the polymer. Now, the polymer is your powders. Powders come in different colors. When I was doing nails, they did not. Okay, they have evolved. When I first started doing nails, all you had was a nude, and then they came out with the pink, and then they came out with the white, then they came out with the natural. Now you have all of these colors. You have browns and pinks and purples and oranges and blues, whatever color you want. They have it now in these powders. But back when I was doing nails, and again, I'm 52, okay, that wasn't the case. So the monomer is your liquid. So it's also known as EMA, which is ethyl methylite. Hold on. Ethyl methacrylate. It's hard to say. Ethyl methacrylate. This is the liquid components. And let me go ahead and take this off here, because like I told you guys, this kit, I have not used it before. And my thing is, I test things so you don't have to waste your money. So if it does not stand up to what we need it to do, but for testing, I think it's going to be perfect. So single small molecules that flow freely in liquid form. So mono, M-O-N-O, means one unit. And it's stored in the dapping dish, what the brush picks up first. Now, our dapping dish, again, is this right here. This is what a dapping dish is. So if you hear people say a dapping dish, this is what they're talking about. And then I realized I don't have anything to put my powder on, so I'm probably just going to take some of the powder and put it in this foil. And then I'll use my dapping dish and the foil, and then we'll put it onto another piece of paper to kind of play around and see if we can form an acrylic flower. This right here is your polymer. This is the powder component. So it's called PMMA, which is polymethyl methacrylate. So it's preformed chains of molecules ground into fine powder. Poly equals many units. So it's available in either clear, pink, white, and cover shades. Like I said, they got it in damn near every shade now. Back when I started, it used to be just natural, pink, white, and I forgot about clear. But now you have all of these colors. So I actually have some coming that was supposed to get delivered today. It's available if you click the cart, but it's different shades of brown along with the pinks and the whites, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to be using that to make our ballerina, mahogany ballerina. Hold on, what did I call it? Mahogany ballerina. Yeah, our mahogany ballerina French set of nails. So that's our last project for the end of the month. But prior to that, we're going to make two different sets. So what you need to know about this, again, is that it's liquid. The liquid monomer and the powder polymer creates the acrylic bead, okay? And you have to be sure that you work fast. This right here, when I read through it, it said it was beginner friendly, so it doesn't set very quickly. You do have products out there that they set really quick. So if you're not at a professional speed level, it's going to set before you have it laid and you end up needing to do a lot of drilling. But this said it does not set quickly. So it's beginner friendly when you're learning. So it gives you time to work with the products. So the chemical reaction. So the initiation, the benzoyl peroxide, BPO, in the powder triggers free radicals when it contacts the liquid monomer. So polymerization is the free radicals cause EMA monomers to link into long PMA chains, an exothermic reaction that produces heat. And then the curing is the chains cross-link and harden, forming the soft bead into a rigid acrylic nail enhancement. So one thing you should know, depending on the product that you use, sometimes your client will feel a little heat. That heat is coming from the chain reaction when you mix these two together. But it shouldn't be an uncomfortable type of heat unless you have damaged that client's nail or you're applying it to a damaged nail. That's why you don't apply acrylic to damaged nails. So the working time is the window before full polymerization, and speed depends on liquid to powder ratio and room temperature. And again, this said this is beginner friendly and it doesn't set quick. There are brands out there that they set quick. So if you're not at a professional level speed, you're going to feel like it doesn't work. And it's not that the product doesn't work. It means that you're using too advanced of a product, which is why we want to practice with this, get our speed and bead control up, then transition over to a more professional line to actually create the sets that we're going to create. So wet bead versus a dry bead. TikTok. Wet bead. See the gloss on this bead? This bead is too wet. This is too wet. This bead right here is too dry. So you should have a 1-to-1 liquid to powder ratio. That means your bead is too dry. If you have a 2-to-1 liquid powder ratio, that means your bead is too wet. You should have a 1.5-to-1 ratio. So you 10% on this over here. So it should be 1.5 liquid to 1 powder. That's your ideal working bead. If it's too dry, it means it's not going to lay, it's not going to smooth, it's going to give you hell. And if it's too wet, it's going to be moving around and doing everything. Just kind of think about when you're working with gel polish and you put your top coat on and you're trying to get your rhinestones or whatever designs to stay, and they just keep sliding and moving. That's what happens when your acrylic is too wet. You're trying to make it set and stay in one place, but it keeps moving. It keeps moving, and it's just going all down, and that's too wet. So that's kind of the best example that I can give you guys. So when you talk about brush pressure and control, you want to use light pressure, about 20% near the cuticle, to smooth, thin application, feather the product to avoid flooding. So flooding means there's too much product going back on the cuticle. It's just like you're trying to apply here, but it keeps going here. You keep trying to clean it and clean it. That's flooding. Then you want to use medium pressure around the stressed area, which is the apex. You want to press firmly to shape the bead, build the structure there, and then toward the free edge, you want to do a thin taper for a natural look. Let gravity help distribute. So when we're doing, these are 3 different brushes, but they're all acrylic brushes. All of these brushes are for acrylic. So you can see this one's a little smaller with a pointed tip. This one right here is a little bit more rounder, and it's not as pointed. And then you have this one right here, which sits a little more round, pointy-ish, a little more flatter. So these are the 3 different brushes that they gave us. So you want to hold this You want to hold your brush, and I'm gonna start with this one to see if this one works for me. You want to hold your brush almost like you're holding a pencil. Okay, this is how you want to hold it. So when you're first picking it up and you're coming at an angle, you lay your first bead down. If you're working with a one ball method, it's going to be a large bead. If you're working with a two ball method, it's not going to be that large. But if you're working on a three ball method, it's going to be a small bead, and you want to start pressing this. You want to press and push, and then you're going to start to form coming up this way. Your apex sits right about here. If you make the apex up too close to the free edge, that's where people end up having breakage and their nail breaks, because the apex is up too high. You don't want to put the apex too low. You don't want to put it too high. You want to put it right about in here. So just think about a quarter of an inch down from the base where the skin of the nail is at. About a quarter of an inch or right in here is where you want your apex to sit. So you want to use 20% pressure here. When you get into this area, the middle of the nail, that will be your second ball you put on. You want to use 50% pressure, because you're actually pressuring to push it out toward the free edge and to form. Then when you get to the free edge, that's where you want to use light pressure, because you're literally just extending the nail out and smoothing it to where you want to be. And then your stress ball is always going to be another small ball that you're going to put on right here to form your apex. And the pro tip, you hold the brush at a 45-degree angle and use the belly of the brush, not the tip. And like I said, you want to hold this like a pencil, okay? And I told you guys you're going at a 45-degree and you are pushing. So when it says you want to use the belly, this is the tip right here. This would be the belly. So you're not coming all the way down here. You're not using this. You're using about this area right here. Okay, so you're not using the tip, you're not using the bottom, you're using this part, which is considered to be the belly. So zone 1 is the cuticle area, which I just told you guys. That's going to be your small bead. You're going to place the bead near the cuticle. You don't want to touch the cuticle. You're putting it toward the cuticle. You're going to use light pressure to push it towards the cuticle. And then you're going to feather the edges, leave a thin, clean margin. So when I see people doing nails and they trying to put it right up to the cuticle, you're not supposed to do that. There's supposed to be a thin little line. And I see people doing nails where the nail is right up at the cuticle. You don't want to put it too far, because that person needs to fill in a lot quicker, but you don't want it to cover the cuticle, and you don't want it to be too close. And I gotta stop. Y'all be talking so aggressive when I be trying to teach y'all. I'm sorry, I'm not a mean teacher, I promise. I'm just very passionate about this. I'm so passionate. Your second area is your zone 2, which is your stress area, which would be up in here. So when you're doing your first ball is going to be your cuticle area, but then when you're forming it, you're usually going to have it formed up to this area. And I mean in the area that you're seeing my nail. When you put your second ball down, your second ball is going to land right here where I have the tip. And then that's when you're going to start forming, and you're usually pushing, going side to side, and then you're going to start coming up and you're forming that. So you want to place the bead at the center of the nail, press and pat to build the apex dome. This is the thickest point, structural strength. So just remember, the apex is going to sit right about here. So that means when you put that second ball down, you're actually building the nail to right about in here. So your apex should be included in that. And then zone 3 is the free edge, which is this one. So you're going to place the bead right about here. And then you're going to be sure that all of this blends in and it's nice and smooth. Each time you do a ball, you should be sure the area before that is nice and smooth. And this is the 3-ball method. And then you're going to keep pulling out to create the free edge. So you're going to place the bead at the tip of the nail form. So like I said, right up in here. And you're going to use light strokes to taper to a thin edge. And that's where you're creating the free edge or extending the nail. You're going to shape the side walls. After you do that, you go in and you want to shape your side walls. Be sure everything is nice and formed. And you're shaping your nail as you go out the free edge, how you want it to be shaped. So if you want it to be more, where's my nails? Here it is. So if you're using a nail form, if you want it to be more square, you would actually just follow these lines right in here. If you know you want your nail to be more pointed, as you start to come in, you're going to start going inward. So you're not going to be using this direct the graph that's right in here if you want it to be coffin. So this actually helps you determine where you're forming the nail, but this is actually like your guide. So you're forming the nail, but you're not doing it so blind because this is your guide. So you know if this person only wants a short nail, you're probably not going to go beyond this right here. If you know they want extremely long nail, you're going to bring it all the way out to here. If they just want a medium length nail, then you're probably just going to go right in here. And then remember, you still have to have room for shaping because when you go into shape, you're going to lose some of the length that you actually created. And this is where you're being sure that you form the free wall. I said free wall, the side wall. So when this is on, it's kind of like this. You go, and I'll show you guys in our next class because when you put this on, you have to know how to do the right curve. And say if we wanted to do a nice pointy nail, all of this is going to be like this, which means I'm not going to see all of this when I'm shaping my nail, and it's going to follow the shape. So you're actually creating the shape when you're forming your nail. So you have to get your nail form correct first before you start laying the acrylic. It's not that you slap on the form and then lay the acrylic and then try to shape it. You need to form the acrylic form first before you apply the acrylic. And then when you're shaping, you're really just smoothing and precision shaping. You're not trying to put the shape in. Welcome in, Brian United. Hey, Mandy. Okay, flooding. So these are the common mistakes, which we talked about flooding, which is flooding the cuticle. You don't want to do that. Flooding causes bead is too wet or placed too close to the cuticle. So again, I've seen people where they're putting a bead in and they're literally putting acrylic all the way down here. That's not supposed to happen. There should never be acrylic touching a person's cuticle. So you should use a dryer ratio. Place the bead slightly away from the cuticle. So you want to place the bead about right here and then guide it down where you can get it very close to the cuticle, but it does not touch the cuticle. Clumping, that means the bead is too dry. Or hesitation during placement. Like if you keep holding it, and this is the thing that I used to do when I first started doing nails, and I had to learn this the hard way. When you pick your bead up, you need to be ready to place it down. It's not that you pick your bead up and you step there talking to people, blah, 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 and then you try to lay it, because guess what? As soon as the polymer and monomer make contact, it's going to start its chemical reaction. And if you take too long, by the time you lay it, it's already started forming the acrylic, and then it's hard for you to do it. So you end up with clumping. So you want to use proper liquid to powder ratio, place and press in one smooth motion. And then lifting, the cause of that is that the product touches cuticle or skin or poor nail prep. If you're not prepping the nail accurately, you're going to run into that. And then the fix for that is to leave a tiny margin at the cuticle to ensure thorough dehydration and primer. Okay, so that wraps us up from that. So now we are ready to jump on in. Now I only have 5% left over here on TikTok, so I'm gonna bring you guys back over to the iPhone. Which on the iPhone you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Because right now, even if I sit you guys all the way up, you're not going to be able to see it. Okay, and I'm going to pin this product. This is the acrylic manicure kit that we are working with. It's the acrylic nail art manicure kit. It gives you 10 grams of nude, clear, transparent powder, 75 milligrams of acrylic powder. And I think I lost, hold on, let me see if it came back up. There it is. And we're back. 75 milligrams of acrylic liquids, carving brush set, which we have 3, and this is your home DIY extension tool, nail art tool. So let me go ahead and switch you guys back over here so you guys can see. Oh no. Okay. I was like, hold on. Thank you for the 3 followers. Woo woo. Now let's try to get you guys over here on YouTube so you guys can see as well. So this should be fairly easy, I think, hopefully. Okay. And then TikTok, you guys. Yeah, you guys can see. So remember, I don't have a thing for my powder. You never want to like dip your powder directly from out of your thing. I've seen some people do it, but what happens, you end up getting the monomer in there, and it creates all these beads, and then you got to go through and get your beads out, and that's just absolutely annoying. And I don't have, oh, you know what? Hold on. We're going to put our foil in here. I'm so crafty. We're going to put our foil in here like this. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of powder in here. I feel like this should be enough. Okay, and then we have our dapping dish. And we're just going to take and put I don't know about y'all, but smelling fresh, y'all know, hold on, because what I didn't get was a paper towel. You always want to have you a paper towel when working with this as well. Okay, so I got a paper towel because I actually ended up dropping a little spot of monomer on my desk. Just gonna put that there. And I have a garbage can over here already, so you always want to be sure that you have a garbage can that's near. Put your trash in. So the very first thing you want to do when working with acrylic, you want to be sure that you wet your brush first. A lot of people miss this step and they don't wet their brush thoroughly as they should. So I'm going to show you guys very quickly what you should be doing to wet your brush. So to wet your brush, I'm going to take my monomer. Remember, the proper way to hold your brush is like a pencil. I want to dip my brush all the way down. And then I want to bring it out across the side. Then I want to flip and do the same thing. What I'm doing is being sure that my brush is thoroughly wet. And you want to be sure that you clean your brush after each use as well. Okay, so now I'm being sure. Now what you want to do is pick up a ball, and you want to look at your ball to see, is it wet or is it dry? So this ball right here to me is too dry. So if I tried to do anything with that ball, it would be a waste of my time. So that means I need to dip my brush again, because this brush has not been used at all whatsoever. It's a brand new brush. So you want to be sure that it's absorbing. And I'm just going to flip it. And this is what you do with a new brush. You want to be sure new brushes are thoroughly saturated with your product. And I'm just flipping it from one side to one side, allowing the bristles to spread out. Now I'm going to bring it up toward the side. Now I'm going to go in and pick up a ball. And when I look at my ball, I still feel like that's too dry. And it could be the brush. Again, this is not even the type of brush I used to work with. So now let's just wet the brush, come in, take some off. Let's pick up a ball. This looks a lot better. So if I lay this ball down right here, if I was going toward the cuticle, I would lay it and then I would push like so. And I would be pulling it out, because let's say it's spread it. So that would be my first ball. Then if I needed to push this back to smooth, I will push it back. I don't know if you guys can see that good over on TikTok. I know over here on YouTube, I think this is a good, so now I want to go in and I want to pick up another ball. I will lay this right here. See, this ball was too dry. This ball was too dry. I didn't check that one. And then I will go in and pick up a little bit more. And let's be sure that our ball is wet enough. I'm going to lay that down. There's a method that's called back brush. And when you back brush, you generally do that because you're filling a gap. This would be my third ball that I'm going to put down right here. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't like this brush. Which means I probably need to try one of the other brushes. But I think all of these brushes, in my opinion, they're too long. That's just my opinion. Hey, everybody over. They look like Carmela. Welcome in. I probably got to get some more powder. Yeah, I think I'm out of powder over here. But let's just go ahead and smooth this one out. I'll push this back. I got to get a little bit more powder in this one. And again, this set that I'm using, hold on, because I think when I switched over, it didn't. Let me link this back. This is the set I want you guys to purchase. And if you're over on YouTube, I have it linked. You can go ahead and pull the set up through my TikTok shop. But this is the set that I want you guys to get just to start practicing acrylic. This is and then for me using it, this is a good practice set. Now I don't necessarily like the brush, but to me all the brushes are long, so I don't know if using a different brush is going to make that much of a difference. So now this is where I will go in. That's the perfect ball. If you guys can see, that's the perfect ball right there. I will put this right here because this will be the apex. So this is what you would call the stress ball. And you want to go side to side. Then you want to pull it out to the free nail. And then you want to push it back going toward the cuticle. And that's how you could create the apex on the nail, which is the lift, the strengthener, so to speak. And anytime you work with acrylic, you're always going to have to go in and do filing afterwards. So this is another perfect ball. So now I want to put this one right here because I want to push down more toward the bottom to help build that out to match up with the apex that I just created. You want to be sure your free edge is nice and clear. Y'all keep forgetting it's Friday. It's Friday. Okay, and then if I was like doing somebody's nails, I will look to see, am I happy with what I'm seeing? Do I need to add anything anywhere else? If I did, I will go in and just add it wherever I feel like it's needed at. Smooth it on out. All right. And then I would say I would be happy with this. And then I would just let it finish drying. And usually when you're doing a whole hand of nails, by the time you finish all 10, the first one's finished. Now, if you're doing like a nail repair, the first one, say you're only repairing one nail, you're going to need it to have some time. Now, to clean your brush, all you do is stick your brush in your monomer, pull it out, and wipe it. That way, if there's any polymer, you'll want to pull that out to be sure. Because if you let it sit and once you have a whole lot of polymer and monomer that turns into acrylic, so once that acrylic is in your brush, it's stuck. It's stuck, and then you need a new brush. So then you just flatten it out on both sides, reshape your brush, and then we generally would sit it like this, just flat, and let it air dry. This right here goes in the trash. You do not take the monomer and put it back in the bottle. That's contamination. You don't do that. This right here would be done. So to clean the monomer, you don't want to pour this down the sink. You would just take this, take your paper towel, stick your paper towel in there and let it absorb all of that monomer up. And then you throw that in the trash. Then you can go ahead and wash it. So that's the proper way to do that. So to test it to see if it's done, this one isn't dry yet. You can tap it with a nail file and it should be hard. You can check it with your finger and this is set. So you guys can see right here on TikTok. That's set. And that's the side. And then you guys can see over here on YouTube. So if I was to take this off of the foil, this is what I have. So let's just imagine that this was someone's nail. Then I will need to go in and shape because you're always going to have these little edges that they're just there. So you go in and you file. You always file side to side first, and you want to file flush to the nail wall. Okay, so this is the nail wall. Trick I'm going to show you guys. If you have new files, the way you always want to cut your files, the way to cut the files is to take them like this. Because if you don't cut your files, that's the term that we use. If you don't cut the files, they're very sharp on the side. So when you start filing someone's nail, you end up cutting the skin. So again, if I was doing this and this was somebody's nail, I'm going to go flush to the sidewall, which we explained the sidewall. And I'm going to go up and down. I would do the same thing on the other side. Then for the top, you want to go straight across. Then when you're doing someone's natural nail, you go from end to middle, end to middle. When you're doing acrylics, you are sanding, baby. Okay? So you just going straight across because you need to get it straight. It's not a natural nail. So the filing technique is a lot different. Oops. And I'm going to show you guys in a minute the finished acrylic. And then I'm just going to come down here because I want to try to make this look like an actual nail. So I'm going to come down here and shape this. And we have been live close to 2 hours, so we're coming to a wrap. If anybody has any questions. Hey, Mara, how you doing? Again, we are live every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, teaching you nail art tutorials. In the month of May, we are learning how to work with acrylics. By the end of May, we will have a total of 3 sets of acrylic nails. Our final project is to create a set of mahogany French ballerina acrylic nails. The products that I use are all available in my TikTok shop. Okay, so this is our little acrylic nail that we just created tonight. Now, if this was like a true acrylic thing, and we'll do this tomorrow. But I have some popsicle sticks that I can take and glue this on a popsicle stick, and I can show you guys how to use the nail drill. But if you guys can see right there on TikTok, this is the nail tip. It keeps freezing on this little raggedy phone. But this is what we just created using the acrylic. Again, I am Tot Styles. I'm here to show you nail art tutorials. Our final goal is going to be to create some flowers. Now, also, when you are filing acrylics, you want to also file the top, because before there was a nail drill. Okay, let me go ahead and age myself. Before the nail drill existed, all of our filing was done by hand with nail files, and we bought files on top of files on top of files, and you had to go between different files. So you would start it out with a very coarse file to smooth the nail down, as to make it nice and smooth, but then you had to go all the way through to buff it out to make it nice and silky. So when you come across the side, you actually would go downward and then back up. And then you will do the same thing on the other side. Now, again, it's kind of hard for me to show you guys, but I'm going to show you as best as I can. Then you will go across the top. Like we didn't have nail files when I first started out. The nail files, and like I said, the price of nail files now compared to when they came out, that's how new they were. When, if you wanted a really good nail file, when I was doing nails, you were going to spend at least $300. They had some that were higher than that. If you wanted like a little, it'll do what you needed to do nail file, it was going to be about $150. But now nail files was really not. When I originally started doing nails, nail files did not exist. They came after the fact. And by that time, I actually only did hair. I had gave up doing nails. So like if I look at my nail right here, like if I was doing this on somebody's hand, I will look and see I need to file some more over here, and I will go in with the drill. And then I might decide, you know what, I need a little bit more acrylic right there, and I will go in and do the acrylic. Oh, I lost the little nail. I don't know where it went. I just dropped it. But y'all, I done dropped the nail. But we are going to practice. Oh, there it is. Practice using the acrylic, because the goal is, once we know how to manage and control the acrylic, I want us to learn how to do acrylic flowers. So on that mahogany French ballerina set, we are going to actually place acrylic flowers on there. So this is the acrylic that we did today, which we just tried to create a little mimic that we were doing a nail, doing the 3-ball method. And then I went in and shaped it as best as I could. But that is pretty much the end of tonight's live. So I appreciate you all for coming on today's live. And just to show you, this right here is the leftover powder. You don't put the powder back in here. That's contamination. This powder is now not any good. You want to throw the powder away. Okay. This is trash as well. Then again, with the dapping dish, you want to take your paper towel, stick it in there, let it absorb all of the monomer that's in it, and then that goes in the trash. You don't throw this down the toilet. It literally goes in the trash. And then I have this other one right here that I can just wipe my station with. And now all of this is trash. And you always want to have a trash can that is close by. Did I bring... My book is not right here, but hold on. Let me tell you what tomorrow's live will be, because I'm sure you guys are saying, well, what's tomorrow's live? And again, we are working with acrylic throughout the month of May. There's a total of 3 projects. Again, if you guys want to, you should purchase what I have right here for you on the TikTok shop. It is not expensive at all whatsoever. It's $7.15 is what it's showing me right now. If I'm not mistaken, the shipping with that is free as well. It comes with everything that you need to get started with what we're going to be doing through week 1 and 2. I'm trying to get to this. Tomorrow's live is going to be acrylic bead placement, which we just did some of that today, which I showed you guys. But tomorrow when we go live, we're actually going to be doing acrylic bead placement on an actual nail. So we're actually going to set up an actual nail and do acrylic bead placement. Yes, and the shipping is free if you have over $45 worth of items. But with what you pay for shipping, with that is still a good price for a practice set. So tomorrow we're going to actually take a nail tip. And I'm actually going to take the nail tip and put it on my Beatles nail display. So just to give you guys an idea, this is the Beatles nail display right here. And there's a total of 5 of these, which means I'm missing one. And we are going to take these nail tips, because these are our practice tips. We're going to put these on here, and we're going to practice doing the 1, 2, 3 ball method. Then we're going to practice doing the 2 ball method, and we're going to practice doing the 1 ball method. Now, mind you, I am not very fond of the brush, but I'm going to push through and just use the brush, because I want to... Any pain points that you might have, I'm probably going to have them too. Uh-oh. I need to do it this way. I don't know if I have to put this back on here. I always try to put my little protectors back on, but I don't want to mess my bristles up. Because that's always the issue, getting all the bristles in. Okay. So tomorrow we'll actually be practicing acrylic bead placement. Tonight I taught you guys about control and application. So I showed you the proper way to hold your nail brush. I showed you about the placement, and the core concept that I am trying to show you all is the 1 bead, 2 bead, and 3 bead method, which we'll be practicing all of those tomorrow. You have to be sure that your bead is not too wet. You have to be sure that your bead is not too dry. So it should be 1.5 to 1 ratio. So you should, your brush should be 1.5% of monomer to 1 ratio of polymer. The monomer is your liquid, the polymer is your powder. When the 2 mix together, there's a chemical reaction, and that's what forms your acrylic. So we will see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will not be live on Sunday or Monday. I have a class in Dallas on Monday, so I might pull over just to give you guys like a recap, refresher, see what you guys are working on. But I think for what we worked on tonight, I think we did really good. My live got reset on TikTok, so my stats are not going to be right when I give them to you all. But I do know that we did get over 1,000 likes. We had a lot of engagement and interaction. As a matter of fact, yes, it's not going to give it to me. But thank you all for joining, and be sure that you get your products. You can join along if you want to come in on the stage so I can see what you're working on, give you pointers or anything like that. I'm more than happy to do it. Each day there is a PowerPoint presentation. Unfortunately, on TikTok, I have to, well, eventually we'll go back over there, but you know, my legs will certain, that's why we're over here. And I'm also going to be teaching you guys how to encapsulate using acrylic, which is basically taking items such as this. So we have these little flowers right here. Or you might have something like this, or even something like this that you want to encapsulate within your acrylic. So that's going to be one of our projects where we actually encapsulate. So the first project we do is going to be just acrylic. The second project we're going to do is going to be encapsulating with acrylic. And then the third project is going to be our French mahogany ballerina nails. So you guys have a super awesome night. Be sure to like, follow, and share, and tell a friend that this is where they need to begin. Okay? Love you. Bye.